All right, you guys, next story up, Irv Gotti. What exactly is wrong with Irv Gotti, other than the fact that he is obsessed with Ashanti? I think that this man is still completely in love with Ashanti. I think that he has been burned, and he is like a woman scorned when it comes to Ashanti. He cannot get over the fact that he was in a relationship with Ashanti, even though he was 12 years older than her. She was 24 at the time. He was 12 years older than her. He was her employer as the owner of the Murder Link label that she was a singer on. And he was married, okay? He had a relationship with her while he was married, employing her, and 12 years her senior. All types of inappropriateness there. Yes, she was an adult, but still, I believe that Irv Gotti did take advantage of Ashanti in some ways when it came to her music and their relationship. At some point, Ashanti realized that this was going nowhere, and she moved on with her life, and she started dating Nelly. Now, Irv Gotti, fast forward some years later, this got to be about, what? Years and years and years ago, at least 10 years ago. But now Irv Gotti has a documentary that he has to promote. And it's coming out about Murder Inc., the label. And so he's promoting that. He's on Drink Champs. And he is telling a story about how he found out that Ashanti was seeing Nelly. Okay. Again, remember he was married at this time, but he says that, he's at home. He was watching the sports package. You know, he likes to watch the NBA games. And on a certain game that he was watching, there was all this commotion. The host was like, we don't know what the commotion is. Everybody is cheering all of a sudden. And then they find out later and they say, oh, we know what the commotion was. It was Ashanti walked in the building with Nelly. And Irv Gotti said how hurt he was that this woman that he's in love with walks into the stadium or the arena with Nelly. And like Nori said, like, I don't think you're over this, because I don't believe that he is. There's been bad blood between Ashanti and Irv Gotti ever since. And Ashanti never speaks on Irv Gotti. So Irv Gotti is the only one that continues to talk about that relationship. And it's like blah, 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 blah. I'm sure that's nothing that she wants to be showcased in any way, considering she was having an affair with this married man and all of that. So I'm sure that that's something that a part in her life where she's not the most proud, right? We know that it happened, but can we not just keep on harping on this, especially the fact that Irv Gotti had a wife, and I believe he is still married to the wife. I think that they're not together, but I don't think that their divorce has been finalized. But it just shows that you have no respect for this woman, for you to still speak so passionately about somebody that was a fucking affair. Okay? Why is it that certain things we just don't speak on? All right? You should be embarrassed to even be admitting something like this, because it wasn't cool. This was on the sneak tip. This was on the DL. This was some shit that needed to stay behind closed doors, because since when do we start professing our loves for the person that we was in an affair with, that we didn't end up with, and that I still ended up getting a divorce from the woman that I was with at the time? Like, ridiculous. And when I tell you, everybody was just like, nigga, you was married. We ain't even trying to think about how you feel, your feelings for the woman that's walking in with, the woman that you're in love with walking in with Nelly. Nigga, really? Really? Oh my God. Something's wrong with his old big cantaloupe head ass. I don't know. But anybody that can actually get on something like this and speak so, like I said, passionately, almost like proudly, of the fact that he had this relationship with Ashanti that should have been not happening, something's wrong with that nigga right there. Okay? And we know, like I said, it's still bad blood. Ashanti doesn't want to have anything to do with Irv Gotti. She doesn't mention his name. She doesn't talk about him when she's thanking people for tributes and awards and whatever else she might have gotten. it's like Irv Gotti doesn't exist, okay? She's still close with Ja Rule, but Irv Gotti is just gonna be a big fat no, all right? And we know that she redid her masters. Remember, you guys explained to me that she was able to go and redo her however many albums that she did with Murder Inc. that she didn't get any credit on. She redid the whole thing, and now she will get the money from that. That's the same thing that Taylor Swift, from what I understand, you guys explained that to me, that Taylor Swift did the same thing, and now Ashanti is doing it because she was fucked out of her money. Maybe that's something Khalees could do. Maybe she could go back and, if she cared that much, redo the album that had Milkshake on it and just, you know, collect her money if she felt so inclined. But yeah, so yeah, Shanti is done with Irv Gotti. She's in a strange place because she's still on she was on that label, and that's what everybody knows her as, the Princess of Murder Inc. Remember, she was that person, and that's something that she can't ever get away from. So you know, Irv Gotti is always gonna be kind of like dancing around in the background, getting on your fucking nerves, right? But yeah, I just saw that on Drink Champs. I was like, what is wrong with him? I feel so sorry for his wife or his ex-wife. Or maybe I shouldn't feel sorry. She probably was like, that's exactly why we're not fucking together no more. I think that they're not together anymore. Are they still together? Are they broken up? I'm pretty sure that they're broken up, for him to get on there and just talk the way that he did about Ashanti. But child, you don't never know. I mean, he just really wants everybody to know that he had a part of Ashanti at some point, you know? It's just like when niggas just want to make sure that you know that they slept with somebody or something. It's just like, you just talk too fucking much. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, you guys, that's that on Irv Gotti. Have you guys watched it? I guess it's released already. I don't watch the Drink Champs, but you guys will have to let me know what else he talked about. Child, this is the only sound bite that they put out on the blogs, because this is what everybody cares about. All right, you guys, next story up. So it seems that Wendy Williams continues to stay in the news. It's such a sad story there, because Wendy Williams is not okay, and I finally accepted that. And I don't know what it's going to take to get her better, because it seems like everybody around her is a fucking snake. Okay, I can't trust the ex-husband. We can't trust her brother. You know, those are the people that seem to always want to speak out for her. She has representatives that we don't know if they really represent her or not. Wendy Williams herself can't speak for herself, because every time you see her, she sounds like she's either drunk or high. She's slurring. She's, you know, we can't really understand her at times. It's a whole lot going on there. And really, Wendy Williams needs to be in somebody's hospital, and somebody needs to be tending to her. But the issue is that Wendy Williams is not well, has a whole bunch of money that needs to be looked after. And we're just not sure who and who cannot be trusted. Like, it's too bad, but it's just bad, okay? And I feel sorry for her, because there's really nobody around her. I mean, she has a 21-year-old son who he doesn't even really know. You know, he doesn't really know how to conduct business as well. So it's just sort of like he's got to turn to somebody to get some, to get some advice. And I'm sure he would turn to his father. And so then, you know, that kind of, like I'm saying, I don't know who is there really and truly for Wendy. Her mom and her dad would have done that. We know her mom is no longer here. Her dad is up in age. So, yes, it's just a sad situation. Now, recently she was seen in a Louis Vuitton store, and she's talking, and she sounds like she's slurring. Later on, somebody had a picture or a video of her knocked out on a bed sleep in the store with a glass of champagne next to her. And that is not normal behavior. And like I said, somebody was recording her from outside on the street, but, you know, into the store, and seeing Wendy Williams asleep like that. It's just awful. It's awful, but it's a problem there, okay? Now, Jason Lee, who, not my favorite person, has the podcast Hollywood Unlocked. You know, he recently said that he was speaking to Wendy Williams and that she told him that she was married to somebody named Henry and that he was a cop. That's all the information that she gave Jason Lee. He said that he was surprised when she said it, but she did say that that's what it was. So he put it out there. He also said that she told him that she told her representatives to keep her family away from her for at least a year. Okay. The only person that she wants to have contact from is her son, her 21-year-old son. Other than that, she don't want to have to deal with nobody else. Okay, which is probably why the story came up from the brother, that when the son went to go see her, that she wouldn't allow him to see, she wouldn't allow him to be seen. There probably was some mix up. The representatives probably wasn't letting the son up, and then Wendy Williams like, oh no, I didn't mean my son can come, but everybody else is cut off. So I think that that's probably how the story came out with the brother. But anyway, she she doesn't want to have any contact with the family. She also told Jason Lee that she is still having problems with her finances. Wells Fargo is still apparently in control of her finances. She said that her American Express doesn't work. And at this point, I know that you guys all told me that I was wrong, because I was just like, well, if she's not able to really care for her money like that, shouldn't there be a custodian over it? And you guys were like, no, Roxanne, this is her money. She has right to her money. And that's still very true. But with all of these people around Wendy Williams who I don't think can be trusted, or I don't know who we can and can't trust, because Wendy Williams can't even seem to speak for herself to say who she can and can't trust. I don't know really what the bank is supposed to do. I mean, this is millions and potentially millions and millions of dollars that they would be responsible for. And for them to just freely let somebody just take it that shouldn't have any access to it, it puts the bank in a situation, as well. So that whole Wendy Williams thing is a mess. Okay, now she has a representative. This ain't even the rep that Jason was saying. So she has a rep named William Shelby, who told Page 6 that she is not married. Okay, that she is seeing somebody. It's a new relationship, and she must have been so excited and got carried away in the conversation. I don't know how you get carried away. I mean, either you married or you're not. Okay, if you think that you're married and you're not, then there's something wrong there. Okay, but that person said that Jason Lee was not credible, and that she is not married and all of that. Well, Jason Lee was upset about that, reached back out to Wendy Williams and actually had her on video where she's saying, no, I am married. Okay, and I did get married, because he was like, Page 6 is saying that I'm like talking crazy and everything. She's like, no, you're not. Okay, and he says there's somebody named Vic who supposed to be a representative for her as well, not this William Shelby guy, but Vic said that he was not credible, and she was just like, yeah, well, fuck Vic, basically. And she said that Vic didn't want me to say anything, and then Jason said, well, he said that he's a representative of yours, and she said he is, so she's got, so like I said, it's just a whole lot of confusion there, and nothing good. And millions of dollars in the meantime. Wendy Williams is still talking about this podcast, so we don't have any confirmation it's happening. I think in her mind, she knows she would like to do a podcast, but I think the reality of that podcast is so far off, because Wendy has issues, medical and health issues, that need to be taken care of at first. And she is not in any type of position to do that right now. It's a mess over there. All we can continue to do is hope and pray that it turns out okay for Wendy Williams, and that she does eventually get a person that represents her that she can trust. Because I don't know what's going on there, but it is it's a mess. All right, you guys, next story up. So it seems that Will Smith has come out of hiding. We haven't seen really Will Smith since the infamous slap of Chris Rock on the Oscars. I knew that he was going to disappear. He needed to disappear after that, because many people were disappointed. Many people were hurt. Many people were mad. And I know everybody out there is like, why y'all be so worried about it? I mean, that's just between Will and Chris and Jada and all that. But it was just like, you guys know that they have fans and people that are invested in their careers and, you know, look up to them and all of this stuff. And that whole thing was such a mess. Okay. And I will say that I was disappointed with Will Smith. I just was very disappointed because he is definitely one of the people that I have looked at and just been like, oh, his world is so full of positivity and all of that. But I also realized the reasons why he may have been the way that he was, and did what he did after reading his book and just getting a little bit more clarity on the personality, the character of Will Smith. Okay. But I wasn't gonna write him off. I was just like, we cool on Will for now. Will need to go away for a little while. So that's what he did. And I'm assuming he's doing the work to try to figure out why he did what he did and how he gets back to himself. And more importantly for him, how he gets his fans back, because Will Smith is one of those people, he even said it in his, so he had a speech that he did, or he had a short little interview that he posted on his Instagram where he's kind of answering questions from people. He apologized to Chris Rock. He apologized to Chris Rock's family, Tony Rock, who he said he had a very close relationship with, Chris Rock's mother, because he knows that he had hurt those people and they meant something to him at some point, you guys. So everybody's saying, he always had a problem with them anyway because, Chris has said some shit about him in the past and all. People just be making up shit. We don't know if he had a problem with Chris Rock or not. Okay. People just remember a joke that he had made some years ago and just assumed that he still had a problem. I had already told you guys that I thought that it was more just something personal that Will was going through and that Chris Rock happened to be the one that day. But anyway, he apologized, but he also mentioned how it is very hurtful for him to disappoint his fans and that it's important to him to be liked by people. And I already knew that. He already talked about that extensively in his book. And I know that is the biggest part of all of this that has given him really a hard time trying to get back to himself, is just knowing that there's a lot of people that just are like, fuck Will Smith. Okay. I don't think that he deserves a fuck Will Smith and just be tossed off. Like I said, I'm still going to watch his movies. I'm still going to listen to his music. I just think that he made a bad decision. He was emotional and that's that. But he's apologized to who he needs to apologize. And I don't think he needs to keep apologizing. He just needs to, really try to work on himself and figure out why he's doing what he's doing, and so that he don't do it anymore, and then get back to the business of working and shit. When people, like Ashley said, when people say, fuck Will Smith and I don't want to have nothing to do with him, it's just sort of makes you feel like, well, maybe you didn't like him to begin with. Okay, now this is just giving you a reason to say these things about him. Because if you had all of these years of really liking a person or respecting a person, and then they make one mistake and you ready to just cast them off for everything, now, I understand some people are not forgiven, but I think that everybody should be given a chance. And it's not like he has a reputation of being this kind of way. So it's just sort of it was a bad day. Okay, it was a bad day. So I'm good with Will, and I want him to still be able to act. And I can see the pain on his face that he's going through this. I feel sorry for him, but I felt sorrier for Chris Rock. But I think that everybody is going to be fine. And I honestly do think that eventually Will Smith and the Rock family will get it back together. Now, will I see them hanging out and having a good time? I don't know if we'll see that. But I think that they will get to a point where... the damn thing is going off again. I think that they'll get to a point where everybody can just coexist. Okay, so that's it. But did you guys see the video that he did? It was actually pretty good. It was only 5 minutes long, and it's on his Instagram, and he's just kind of talking about what he's been doing to try to get himself back on track. Y'all should check it out. All right, you guys, next story up. So, Mystical. Okay, mama named him Michael Tyler. Mystical has been arrested for rape. Let me tell you guys something. That little 4-letter word rape has been surrounding Mystical since 2001, 2002, 2003, somewhere in there. Okay, we have been hearing about this man kidnapping, raping, trying to get money out of a person, a witness. I mean, we've heard a lot of these stories that have happened, and this isn't the first or the second, but the third time that Mystical has been accused. Now, he was arrested and convicted of sexual battery back in 2003. Okay, he did some 6 years in prison for that, and then when he got out, he was immediately accused of rape and kidnapping another woman. Okay, 2017, I think that he ended up going to jail again for that rape. Did 18 months and then bonded out $3 million. And then those charges were eventually dropped because I guess that they were going to do a second. I mean, he was going to be indicted again, and the grand jury couldn't come up with an indictment. So they dropped that. Okay. But now here we are again, third time's a charm. Okay. Arrested for first-degree rape, simple robbery, domestic abuse battery, and false imprisonment, and simple criminal damage to property, and is now in a jail in Louisiana where he is waiting to be arraigned. They're saying that he's going to go to court, I believe, on Tuesday for this. But I mean, I guess you could say that maybe because people realize that he's a sexual offender, he's registered sexual offender, so that's always going to be the easiest thing to accuse him of, and people will believe it. Or this motherfucker just out there raping and kidnapping people and just can't seem to get it out of his, I mean, what the fuck? Like, he obviously can't get it out of his system, was not rehabilitated while he was in jail, if he is indeed guilty. Nobody is saying that he is indeed guilty. We're just saying that that's what he has been arrested for, and that's what he sits in a jail for right now as he awaits his arraignment. But that's troubling. That's troubling. Okay. Because I know that we come from the where there's smoke, there's fire kind of school of thought. So it just sort of makes you feel like, is he really out here doing this? I would hope not. Mystical is a talented rapper. And, even when he got out of jail, kind of hit the ground running again. And people were booking him and busy and all of that. And now it's like, you just gonna keep on doing this? That's why I just would like to think that he isn't guilty. But I mean, child, we're gonna have to wait to see what the case, you know, how the case goes. And if he isn't guilty, then it's too bad that he has to keep having to pay for something like this. But I don't know, y'all. Something definitely we can't just be ignoring. We gonna figure out you know, what it is. Now, the victim, she did go to a hospital. The police were called after she had accused him of the rape, and she did have some minor injuries from the attack, but you know, they said that she was fine, and that was the reason why they went and arrested him. But so we'll just have to see. We'll just have to wait and see. But I surely hope that this man just hasn't made it a lifetime thing of raping and kidnapping women. Just, I don't know. I don't understand. All right, you guys, next story up. So it seems that Iman Shumpert, the husband of Teyana Taylor, he was arrested in Dallas at the airport. He was trying to go through TSA, and they said that he had a sizable amount of weed in his bag. Okay, they said he had 6.12 ounces of green leafy substance. He did admit to the TSA agents that it was marijuana, and they promptly arrested him, took him to the airport jail, and they said that, you know, he didn't fight back or anything. They say that he faces 2 years of jail time, which I don't believe he'll do. They say that he faces a $10,000 fine, which I believe he will have to pay, and I'm sure he will go on his way. People have to remember that although I think in Dallas, medicinal weed is legal, not like just for what's the word that I'm gonna use? Not for recreational use, not for pleasure, but if you have a medical prescription, then you can smoke weed in Dallas, okay? But you also have to remember that the airport is federal government, and marijuana is illegal with the federal government. So you kind of take your chances, even though they are pretty lenient when you go to the airport and you're flying out of a city or a state where it is legal. Usually they won't give you a hard time as long as you ain't just got these ridiculous amounts of weed and marijuana, weed, gummies, edibles. As long as you ain't got just way too much where they start thinking that maybe you're gonna be distributing shit, or maybe you just really got that kind of nerve to be coming through here with all of this shit, they usually let you fly out fine, okay? But it's a chance that you take when you go through the TSA, because they could say you are breaking a crime. You are committing a crime coming in this federal government governed place with these drugs. Okay, now usually because I was asking for a friend when I was in Los Angeles, they usually, if they are going to give you any kind of hassle at the airport, I was told that they would just take it from you, okay? But you wouldn't probably get arrested or anything like that, unless, I guess, the TSA was feeling particularly petty that day, or like I said, if you just had way too much shit that you was trying to come through there, they couldn't even just turn a blind eye to. So I don't know how much 6.12 ounces of weed, I don't know what that looks like. I don't do marijuana, I don't do weed like that, so I don't know. But apparently it was enough for them to just be like, oh no, nigga, come on back here. Let's take it to the back, okay? But like I said, Iman Shumpert, I think that he'll be fine. I'm sure he will, put his lawyers on it. They'll fix it, pay the fine, maybe do a little community shit here and there, and then go on about their lives. But you guys need to be aware that marijuana is not legal everywhere, and definitely not necessarily legal at the airport. So you take your chances there, y'all. Keep your head up, be careful. And then lastly, you guys, prayers up to Lil Durk. Oh, you guys, what does mama name him? Let me look it up. Mama named him Derek Banks. Isn't that something? We could be some relation, you guys. Durk, though, that's actually his first name. Anyway, prayers up to Lil Durk, who was at Lollapalooza the other day. He was performing on stage, and as he walked across the stage, doing his rap, the pyrotechnics went off and burst right in his face, exploded in his face, okay? And we saw him stop, we saw him take a step back, we saw him rubbing at his face, but we also saw that he continued on with his performance, and people were kind of assuming that he was okay. But it comes to find out that he was just being the consummate professional by making sure that he continued and finished his set. But then once he got off a stage, that he did suffer some injuries. We don't know exactly what the injuries are, but I have seen a picture of him that his face and one eye is bandaged, okay? Which it looked like it would definitely be some damage there, because that thing hit him square in the face. I mean, like square in the face. I thought it was great that he was able to even continue on with his set. But like I said, I don't know if there's been any injury to his eye or if it's just been his face. Well, they have his eye bandaged, so something happened. Hopefully it's nothing too serious where he'd still be able to see, through his eyes and all of that. But yeah, prayers up to him, because, you have to be careful. Them pyrotechnics ain't no joke. I mean, and we see every year with 4th of July and all of the shit when people don't know what the hell they doing or not being safe. And, we've seen it the box tip over and the fireworks shooting out at different people on the street, or, you know, we see people staying too close to the fireworks. I saw one guy, he was in a wheelchair. The shit went off next to him and he couldn't even get away. And he just sat there the whole time because he didn't even really know what to do. And I was just sort of like, this is exactly why people shouldn't be doing all those serious fireworks like that. Y'all just need to go and get you just your regular little $25 box at the, at the stand. But, you know, nowadays everybody gets like these super big ones that shoot up in the sky, and they're pretty and everything, but you have to be really safe. And on that stage, when he got hit in the face, I was like, oh shit. So we just gonna hope that, you know, he's okay, that whatever, you know, whatever injuries that he had, they're superficial or whatever, and that he didn't have any extensive damage done to his face or his eyeball. You guys Lil Durk fans out there? Okay, well, hopefully your boy gets better. Yeah. Alright, guys, that is it. We do this every single week, so make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you come back. Until next time, rock stars. Bye.